Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Art Side of Life, where it's all about how you can turn your creative passion into a profession. My name is Eva, and my guest today is an amazing painter, teacher, animator, and graphic designer from California. Since the age 13, he devoted his life to art, and during high school, he got internship at Sony Online Entertainment to animate for the upcoming video game EverQuest 2. In 2003, he began studying at the Watts Atelier of Arts in Encinitas, California, where he got most of his arts training. His focus shifted from animation to fine art painting. And a few years later, he became a teacher there, and he has taught drawing and painting classes on numerous topics such as portrait, figure, quick sketch, and plein air landscape. He's the creator of Proko.com, an online tutorials platform featuring video instructions about anatomy, figure drawing, portraits, and caricature. If you want to try some of his courses, stay tuned until the end of the video, where he shares a code of 20% discount of any of his courses. So please welcome Stan Prokopenko, and let's just jump into interview. Welcome everyone to the next episode of Art Side of Life, and I'm super happy to have my guest here. Hi, Stan.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. And how are you?
I'm doing well, tired, but
Baby keeping
just
you
had a
up.
son. Yep,
But
he's a
then,
month now, 1 month old now.
wow, yeah. So it's like a lot of creativity bringing from your tiredness.
No, no creativity.
And so, speaking about babies, and so how were you as a baby? Did you have like a creative outlet as a child, or like were you creative right away?
Yeah, my mom tells me that when I was little, she would just give me paper and pencil, and it would keep me busy for a few hours.
Wow.
So that was her way of making me just do my own thing. So yeah, I was drawing at a very early age, but I was just doodling.
Yeah, well, I mean, that
I mean,
already
obviously,
started, right?
yeah, I'm sure it developed a little part of my brain early on. So,
And which were kind of the biggest like turning points or the decisions you had to do when you were like taking this, like, okay, I want to take this professionally?
um, it was in high school. So I had two really good teachers in high school that I think changed my life because they gave me the resources I needed to make a decision, first of all, to become an artist and also to get the skills. So the first teacher was my animation teacher. He got me really excited about art. I actually ended up taking animation every semester in high school because he made animation so fun. And then I think about sophomore and junior year in high school, I took drawing and painting class. And that teacher introduced me to the Watts Atelier, which was a school in the area. It's only about half an hour from my house. And that's a school for adults. It wasn't like a high school program or anything. It was just a school, an atelier program. And I started taking classes there on the weekends. And then I ended up staying there for 10 years.
Oh, wow. So cool. And do you remember the conversation what you had with your parents when you told them, I want to take this professionally?
Huh. No, I don't. Not the exact conversation. I mean, I was always interested in drawing and painting. So I don't think I ever told them like, yep, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I think they kind of saw the transition, the slow transition and the interest. Yeah.
Did you ever have to like sacrifice something in order to pursue your passion?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it wasn't a sacrifice because it was an easy decision, but I had to make a decision. So I was in karate for about, I don't know, 10 or 12 years or something as a kid. And in high school, my karate instructor wanted me to get really serious about it and start training for competitions, international stuff. And I was like, well, I kind of want to do this drawing thing. I don't have time to train every day for 4 hours, because that's what it would take if I wanted to do international competitions. I'd have to come in every day for like 4 hours. And I was like, no, never mind. I'm going to draw.
And
So,
yeah. And at that
but
time
from,
you actually like decided to go to school when you were deciding between sport and drawing?
yeah, that was around the same time. Yeah, that's around the time I started going to the Watts Atelier. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, cool. Hey, yeah, I had actually the similar experience. I was also doing the sport professionally, then I was like, oh, okay, so I don't want to do this like forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, once it gets that serious, it kind of takes the fun away from it. And so I didn't really like it anymore. The karate. It was just too much training and like, oh, you got to win these competitions. I was like, I want to do my own creative stuff.
Too intense.
So, yeah.
And did you have like a mentor or someone who inspired you the most to create something aside of these two teachers?
A mentor. Well, I mean, as an adult or as a young adult, the teachers at Watts Atelier were my best mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I also had a few mentors as like, as friends, people that I met as acquaintances throughout just like non-art things.
Yeah.
And they helped me out a lot, just in making just life decisions and stuff. But yeah, definitely, I had a lot of adults in my life that I always went to for help when I wanted to, make decisions and just get advice from.
So, what would you say was like a best advice you ever received?
About what?
About your art career or
Although
life?
oh, geez, that's such a big question. Best advice. There's so much. I think, I mean, there's so many. I don't think I could single out one of them. I mean, like in karate, for example, just the training was very good to transition into art, which I think a lot of people who don't have the discipline from early on approach art as just something that's just fun, and it's something that I do just to enjoy myself. But coming from a competitive athletic background, you go into it thinking, okay, I could put a lot of time and effort into this, and I could train like I did with karate, and I could get really good. And so just that discipline applied to art really helped me. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one thing.
And what about like the worst advice or something maybe you see the people give to young artists now, because you are around students as well a lot, so do you have experience in that?
Okay, I guess in general, like, it's kind of more of a pet peeve of mine. And it could work for some people. It's just like, I don't know, in America, a lot of, or most of the art colleges are really bad at training people how to draw and paint. A lot of them approach it as just, be free and do what you feel. And it's like, well, yeah, there is that side of art. There's the creativity side of it, but you can't have just an idea without being able to execute it. And art is also a science, and there's a craft that you have to get good at. And when you go to school and you pay sometimes $60,000 a year to learn, and all they do is tell you to feel, it kind of makes me mad. I'm glad I didn't go to those colleges, because I'd be in debt without any knowledge of how to draw. But so I think that's the worst thing right now about the art world is the horrible training in art colleges.
And how do you approach learning when you want to build up your skills and or what you teach? Where do you usually suggest people to start, or like, okay, this is the starting point, and then you develop this way?
For drawing?
Yeah.
Or just for art? First, I recommend, even if you want to paint, I recommend you start with drawing, because it's they overlap a lot. All the fundamentals you can learn with drawing, and it's a lot easier to learn it with drawing, because you're not distracted by color and the application of paint. Those are advanced topics. Color and application of paint are things that you should worry about later once you have the fundamentals already comfortable. So just developing your eye to see, composition, perspective, light, how light and shade works, all of that stuff, you could learn it with just drawing, and it's so much cheaper because all you need is a pencil and a piece of paper, and you don't have to pay for, hundreds of dollars for oil paints and canvas and all that. That gets really expensive. So yeah, start with drawing. And personally, I like the human body. So, and I think a lot of people, when they look at art, they also really, they like to look at the human body. And I don't mean like the nude body. It could just be a face. It could be hands. It could be whatever. Yeah. It's just that, we all connect better when we see an actual person, or rather than like a train or something, So, and I feel like if you can draw the body or a portrait, you can draw anything, because it's so difficult to draw a face well. So I recommend starting with just study the body and study how to draw.
Yeah. So something also which interests you, right? So you are more drawn to it. So as you say, like either characters, because we can identify with them a bit better.
Yeah, characters.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you mean like character design, or?
Yeah, just like, as you said, like humans in general, like rather than starting just with a tree, but just started with
you could do trees. Character. I think starting with the human body, that's probably just my own personal opinion. I don't think that's like everybody needs to start with the human body. I don't think so. I think more just fundamentals, like develop your eye, learn perspective, composition, gesture, shading, and you can learn all that stuff by drawing, boxes and trees and animals or whatever you like. It doesn't have to be the body. I just think that it's a good it's a good subject to start for most people.
And what did you learn over the years about the observation when you are like just about to draw something? Because it can be really overwhelming for someone who's just starting out and like, okay, I have this giant scene or the whole human there, and like, oh, there is perspective, there is light, there is everything. Yeah. So how do you, like, what is maybe the best learning you kind of like found out about the observing?
Of just observation?
Yeah.
Of how to get like the measurement, the proportions correct?
Or just, like how to explain it, like how to start, when you are like, okay, I want to learn how to observe things. So would you just like break it in like, okay, this time I'm learning about perspective, then this time I'm learning about light, and in this way?
Yeah, that's tough because there's so many things to learn and they all kind of depend on each other.
Exactly.
That when you start, you're gonna be really frustrated because there's so many gaps in your knowledge, and like it's like you're learning how to shade, but your proportions are all off, and so that's frustrating. Or you start with proportions, but then everything looks flat because you have no idea how light and shadow works. It's gonna be frustrating. I think just try to have fun with it. I don't think there's any specific order of what to learn in order to optimize it and to be not frustrated. I started with, what did I start with? Well, it's kind of hard to say. I started painting landscapes when I was like 13 because I had a friend who painted and I kind of went out a few times with him. Or not a friend, my parents' friend, he painted. And so it was painting, so that kind of made it difficult, but it was landscape, so that was a little easier. And then at home, I like to just draw things around me. So a cup, a bowl of cereal or something, an action figure. Whatever it was that I was around me, I just kind of drew it. And all I really cared about at that moment was getting the proportions right. I don't know why that's all I cared about, but I just wanted to really capture that shape. It was like an obsession. But a lot of other things were not correct in that. But I didn't know that they weren't correct because I was young and I didn't really have a good eye yet. So I think the best approach is to draw the things that you're interested in. Because if you just do the things that I'm telling you to do, you're going to not like it and you might give up. So I think develop your eye by drawing the things that you like to draw, And then once you kind of are a little bit more comfortable with it, then you can start getting a little more serious and get more disciplined with specific subjects.
Yeah, that makes
I don't know,
sense.
does that?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
And so when you are creating your own artworks, do you have like a favorite pencil or a favorite tool? Like, oh, this is my
Yeah,
thing.
I have a lot of favorites. Yeah. I have a favorite for every medium, basically. So for graphite, I recently started liking the Blackwing pencils. They're animator pencils back in the day, and they recently brought them back. I feel really nice. I also like I don't know how to pronounce it. Is Stadler or
I think
Stadler?
it's Stadler.
Stadler,
Yeah.
whatever. It's spelled really weird too. They have a thick mechanical pencil where you put really thick lead into it. It's blue and it's got metal on both ends. I really like those mechanical pencils because they're thick and you can sharpen them really long. Not like like normal mechanical pencils that you use in like math class or something.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
really thin and you get only a point. With these, they're thick, and so you can sharpen them to have a little bit of a side as well. And I like those for when I'm trying to get things really detailed. Like if I'm drawing a long portrait that I want to make it really finished and polished, I'll use those because I could really get into the crevices of the paper. And I could really get clean cross-hatching with those. So that's graphite. For charcoal, and charcoal I think is my preferred drawing medium, I like the Contes. I've made a video about my drawing supplies as well. But let's see, painting, oil, that's my go-to. I like gouache.
Nice. So you're using a lot of different materials, and we can put also the link in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show notes for your video about the art supplies if like our audience want to check out what you actually use. And when you're creating your stuff, is there like the vision or mission you are always trying to communicate? Like kind of what is your branding?
I'm sorry, when I'm drawing?
Yeah,
Or what?
how would you describe your brand, or so how people know your art style, or
Oh, okay, my art style.
is there something in your creations that is always there?
I don't think so. I think it's still developing. My art style is still developing. I wouldn't even know because, I mean, if you look at my drawings, I don't know, 5 years ago, they look a little different than they look now. I mean, I like clean light and shadow, more direct light. I like good edge work where, not everything's not just mushy. You got very clean, sharp edges, and you got very good soft edges where they need to be. Draftsmanship is important for me, where things are controlled, but then every once in a while, there's a little bit of controlled chaos as well. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe your own style.
Yeah, that's true. It's a tough
Yeah.
question.
If you look at my paintings, a lot of the subject matter that I did was of like Ukrainian village, farm life. But that's not really a style. That's more of a subject matter.
But it would interest you, so it kind of goes
Yeah.
through there. Like, like if you really like landscape, then it will be always there. And then you want to talk about, I don't know, like nature there.
Yeah.
In
That's
that
true.
sense. Maybe you just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
And how do you design your day? What is something, maybe your routine, or now, as you said, now you have a small baby, so it's definitely different.
Everything went out the window. I don't have a routine anymore, but let's say 1 month ago. Okay, so I mean, right now I have an office with a team, so my routine has changed a little bit over the past few years because I have people to help me, and I have an office to go to. So I have a very strict, schedule. Not strict. I could not go if I It's my office, so I don't have to go. But I stick to it. You know, I go in, I'll wake up, I'll have breakfast, get washed up and everything. And then lately I've actually been walking to work. My office is about 3 miles away, so it's a perfect like 1 hour walk. And that really gets my brain working. Yeah. I'm very active after that hour walk. I come in, I'll work for 8 to 10 hours, go home, and hang out with my wife. While I'm working, we use the Scrum method. So we have everything that we want to get done ever, like in a list. And it's rated by like how important is it, or not how important is it, how complicated is the task. And so there's a point value assigned. And so if I'm just kind of working and I come up with an idea and I think, oh, I really got to do this, instead of just starting on doing that thing, I just put it in the list. Because it might not be the most important thing to do right now. It's just the thing I thought of right now. So I put it on the list, I give it a value, and then every Monday we evaluate, okay, what should we do this week? And we take those things and we put it on the list for this week. And we know if we can get all those done because we have points assigned to them and we know how much we can get done every week. We kind of, after doing it for a year, you kind of figure out, okay, this is how much I could do. So you put only the amount you can do for that week, and you focus on those high priority things, not the things that you are urgent. You have to have a good balance between urgent tasks and important tasks. So that's like the more science mind of me that like it has to stay organized. But of course, I'm an artist. Every once in a while, I'll just get an idea and I just have to run with it. So I'll get distracted and I just won't stick to that list and I'll just do whatever I want. And that works sometimes. Yeah. If you know how to balance that out, those two sides, some really good things can happen, because staying strict with the things that really need to get done while at the same time really exploring the things that your mind is just kind of randomly creating, those two can make some really interesting things happen in your life.
And how long does it usually take you to create your either drawing or painting, like on average? Like a really serious drawing or painting that I would put into a gallery, I would say between 10 and 30 hours. Yeah. Cool. And so now can you share some exciting projects you are working on now, or something coming up in the future, which is not secret anymore?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of things we're working on. As far as tutorials, we're working on a perspective course that we've been working on for like 4 years now. I'm working on a basics course, a beginner's course for artists.
Perfect.
I realized I don't really have that. I started right out with figure drawing, portrait drawing, but it kind of requires people to know some of the basics. So I'm about halfway through creating the beginner's course. So somebody who has no experience in drawing and they want to start, this would be the course for them. That one we're hoping to release sometime next year. We're also working on I'm calling it the Masterpiece series, where I'm going to various artists' studios and I'm recording them creating a work of art. And I'm not going into their studios to record like a tutorial. It's more of, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to record you paint. Just paint how you regularly paint. Like if you were going to put something in a gallery, how would you do it? And I just want to record the process. So I've been doing that. I've recorded Aaron Westerberg. He's a really good artist. And we're editing that now. I have a few more artists lined up. They're not set yet, so I don't want to say anything about them. But I want to make that a regular thing. Just releasing those, and those would be like really long videos, because it's like, you know, some people, it could take like me 10 to 30 hours to do one painting. That would be what I film.
Yeah. So you will have to speed it up into some digestible length, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah, I think we haven't finished editing the first one, so I don't know exactly what it's going to be like. But my idea is we'll have two versions. We'll have like maybe a 2-hour version where we condense the whole thing into something that you could watch in 1 or 2 sittings. And then if you want to really go in and watch in real time, we'll have that footage available as well. So it's like, you know, if it's a 15-hour painting, you're not going to sit there for 15 hours just watching. You might watch for 2 hours and you might think, oh, I really like how he painted that eye. Yeah. And then you go to the real-time footage and you watch just that portion of how he painted the eye.
Yeah,
so
very
that,
interesting.
Yeah.
And would you have also the artist speaking there as well? Maybe something a
Yes.
bit like a documentary? Yeah, so you can like switch in between like painting and speaking.
Yeah, what I did with Aaron Westerberg was I interviewed him before and after each sitting. So every time he painted, and I asked him, like, what are you going to do? Then he would do it, and then I asked, okay, so what did you do? And he would talk about it all. And so what I think I'll do is I'll take that interview and just kind of overlay it over the video.
Yeah.
While he's speaking.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Or while he's painting.
Yeah. I kind of assume as well that you said like painting. Okay, anyway, so it was supposed to be painting. Yeah. And when you have so many different projects, how do you decide, you know, to like, okay, now I will work on this project? What is going on in your head when you have to say no to projects?
Yeah. We have, like I was saying, we have a list of all the things we want to do. There's too many. There's way too many things. We just can't do them. But we discuss it as a group. We all talk about, okay, why do we think this is the thing we should do now, or why this should probably be put off till later. It's just a discussion that we have, and we decide based on what we need at that moment and what we want as a company. Yeah. And that's me talking from Proko, like the company. For myself as an artist, I kind of just do what makes me happy.
And how did you find people to work with? I mean, like, so you are happy with them, or were they like your friends, or did you find them somewhere online, or how does that work for you?
Well, I slowly built it up. As income from selling tutorials slowly grew, I slowly hired help. Like when I was able to afford one person, I hired one person to help me with editing. And I found that the first one I found through a friend. Is actually Marshall Vandruff. He's a good friend of mine. He's a teacher, and he has a lot of students that he knows because he teaches at a pretty good college. And so he recommended this one student, and I said, hey, you want to help me with editing? And he said yes, and we did that. That allows me to focus more of my time on things that are a little more maybe more important and less urgent. And so that helps the company grow. And then I have more income, and then I add more employees. So it's just natural growth of a company.
So how did you start it? Or because you mentioned that you started to sell your tutorials, how did that happen? Or what was the first step to sell the tutorials? And how did you grow from that?
Okay, so the first thing I had was a blog and that was like 8 years ago maybe, I started a blog, and that was when I was teaching at the Watts Atelier. I would just write stuff, make a little tutorial, post it on my website, just to kind of help me practice teaching. And those tutorials became popular. I kind of got a following. I don't think there was a Facebook. Yeah, no, there was a Facebook. Never mind. What am I talking about? There was Facebook, but I wasn't really growing my Facebook at all. I just had a personal Facebook. It was more of my blog that was growing, and people had RSS feeds back in the day. And that's what became popular. And I collected a good mailing list. And then I decided, when YouTube started becoming pretty big, I decided to turn my blog posts into videos. And as soon as I started doing those became much more popular than my blog posts. And so I started focusing on those. And my blog posts were all about portrait drawing, so I just turned those blog posts into videos. So my first videos were all about portrait drawing. and they were all free. I wasn't really trying to make money at that point because I had my teaching job, and this was just kind of to try to get the word out, trying to get my name out there. And eventually people started asking, like, hey, can I buy a DVD of all these videos? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people requested this, so then I thought, okay, fine, I'll put all these videos on a DVD. It's the same exact content you can get for free on YouTube, but if you want a DVD version of it, here you go. And a lot of people ended up buying it.
Yeah, people pay for convenience.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I thought, okay, well, there's some money in this, so I will start a figure drawing course, and I'll have some content for free and a little bit more content that's only available if you pay on my website. Mm-hmm. So they log in and they view the premium version. And people bought those, and it just kind of slowly grew from there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because then you didn't, like some people decide for Patreon, right, first, and then, so you right away started on your website.
Yeah, when I started that, I don't think Patreon was really that big yet.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know how many years it has now, but yeah, you might be
right.
Yeah,
I think I started maybe 4 or 5 years ago on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And Patreon maybe started like 3 years ago. I don't know. I didn't hear about Patreon until I already had a business model set up.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense for me to switch.
Oh, cool. And now you have like the one main income is from the courses and your company, right? Or do you also sell like your art prints on the side, or this is one main, as you said?
It's pretty much tutorials.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Good for you. Super perfect.
I'd like to paint more. I'd like to have a little more time painting, but right now I've decided I'm going to focus more time on teaching other people how to paint and grow my company, mm-hmm. so that I can paint whatever I want to paint.
Yes.
So that I don't have to rely on selling my paintings. Mm-hmm. I can have this company that makes money, and then I could just paint because I love painting. It's not something I want to do to make money. It's something I just want to do. Yeah. And I learned from painting like commissions, because I used to do a lot of commissions for people, mm-hmm. portrait painting, and I really didn't enjoy those. Mm-hmm. Like, it's great painting for an income. It's better than, working for, like a fast food restaurant or something. But as a creative, it's just, it's not as enjoyable as just coming up with your own idea and going with it. If somebody sends you a photo that's badly lit of their grandchild or something, and you have to paint it, it's a kind of annoying. So I stopped doing that. So I just want to paint whatever I want to paint. But right now I'm not. I'm waiting for my company to be a little more stable without me, mm-hmm. where I can work on it half of the time and then work on my own stuff half the time.
Perfect, yeah. And is there something you wish you knew before you started the whole art career or your company?
Something I wish I knew?
Yeah. Maybe like advice to young self,
Yeah, well, this is more of a business advice. It's not really advice for artists. It's basically, don't be afraid to delegate, because when they're starting a company, they think that they're the only ones that can do what they do, which is just not true at all. There's plenty of very talented, very skilled people out there that know what to do. So I always thought like, oh, okay, I could hire someone to help me with editing, but I can't hire someone to help me with scripts, because the script of the video, that's like the most important part. And then I just tried it, and she ends up writing scripts better than I do. So like,
which is the best case.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to delegate. Just try it. You might hire someone who might not be as good as you. And if it doesn't work out, try again. Hire somebody else. Eventually, you'll find people. There are people that can do what you do. You're not that, you're not that unique. Not you, me.
No, I mean, not true, but that's totally true, because sometimes we feel like, oh, but then, but you can free out your time so you can actually do more of you are the best at, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't mean delegate everything. I mean, start by delegating the things you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. Start delegating the things that will, yeah, free up your time to do things that you really enjoy and the things that you're really good at, the things you are the best at. Just leave those things. Everything else, just delegate that stuff.
Yeah. And can you also
So,
share like maybe the most difficult moment or the worst career moment so far and what you learned from it?
worst career moment. Oh man. You're making me think. Um, you mean like financially or in what way?
It doesn't really matter. It can be, like after school where you were not sure what to do, or it can be also like you had the bad client, or basically it doesn't matter. Something you remember like, okay, I had tough time and then I overcame this time with this solution.
Okay. Um, yeah, well, one thing I kind of mentioned already was the commissions. I really didn't enjoy those, and one reason was because a lot of the photos people would give me were not very good photos to paint from. You know, personally, I like to draw and paint from life, from the natural source. That's the best way to paint, is just to look at the actual thing right in front of you. The next best thing, if you don't have that luxury, is a photograph. But if it's a bad photograph, it's just such a pain. It's so different from drawing from life or painting from life. And so what I did halfway through my commission career is I started saying no to people that had only bad photographs. I was like, no, I'm not going to paint this. I'm sorry. And that helped because then the photos were better and they were a little bit easier to get information out of so that I could make artistic decisions. But I was still not enjoying them because they were still not my own photos. They're not my ideas. And then I just said no eventually. And now I just do what I like to do.
And do you still have like down days as well? And maybe if you do, how do you motivate yourself to continue?
Like when I'm just not feeling... Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, for some reason, it's like every once in a while, I'll just like forget how to draw. It could just be maybe I'm struggling with something in my personal life or something, and then like my brain is just not functioning 100%, or maybe I just need to exercise a little bit more, and maybe I need to get more sleep. Yeah, sometimes it's really frustrating because things just don't come out the way they usually do. I think the best thing for me, I guess the best thing to do is try to struggle through it for a few hours. Sometimes you get past it and you just find your groove. But after a few hours, if it's just not happening, I go do something else and I come back to it. Yeah.
And do you have something maybe which simplifies your life if you have a hard time either organizing or creating something maybe you bought recently as like this is like the best thing ever?
For organizing?
It doesn't matter for what. It's just like something which simplifies your life in a good way.
Simplify. Well, a good computer for me is very important because I do a lot of things on the computer, editing videos and stuff. And if it's slow, the creative process is it's like equivalent to a bad photograph when you're painting. If the computer is lagging, it destroys the whole creative process because you're waiting for the computer rather than the computer waiting for you. And when you're waiting for the computer, it stops. It stops you from continuing the flow. Yeah. So I'm always making sure my computer is fast enough.
So PC or Mac?
Both.
So you have both.
Yeah, laptop, Mac, desktop, PC.
Oh, cool. It's so hard to decide. I was looking for PCs now recently and like for editing video especially, and then it's like, oh, which graphic card, which I don't know what, and so many options.
Yeah. For laptop, I like Mac because they have the best laptops. They're very well made. They're fast. But I don't like to edit on my laptop. This is just for on the go. stuff. But when I'm in my office and I need to edit my 4K videos that are just extremely huge, and I need a PC which I can customize to be very powerful.
Yeah.
A Macintosh that's equivalent would cost me like $12,000. That's no.
So when you were deciding what PC to get, you actually put it together. Like, I want to have this memory RAM, then this graphic card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was younger, I would do it. I would build it myself because it's cheaper to just buy parts and put it together. Nowadays, I go through a company that builds custom PCs. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's still cheaper than a Mac, than a desktop Mac.
Yeah.
So
Can
it's
you share
Puget.
the company?
Yeah, Puget, Puget.
Ah, cool.
And they have very good customer service. You just tell them what you need, what you do, and they'll recommend things, and they're very good.
Very nice. Yes, good. I will check it out. And when you're editing videos, do you work with Premiere Pro or some other program?
Yes.
Yeah.
I use Creative Cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud for most of everything.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, me too.
Photoshop for me. Yeah.
And what about some books? Can you recommend some books, maybe to learn from, either artistic book or live books?
Yeah. So Loomis, all of his books are great. For anatomy, I use Richer. It's Richer. That's the name of the artist. Goldfinger, anatomy is good. Bridgman, for those that already have a little bit experience with anatomy, Bridgman is good to then take that anatomy and simplify it into blocky forms. But if you don't understand the general kind of muscle layout, the blocky forms that he shows you will just confuse you, because he's not always accurate. It's more he simplifies it. So that's the important thing. Let's see. James Gurney has really good color and light, how to draw, or what is it, imaginative realism. I have a list of my favorite books actually on proko.com/books.
Perfect.
So yeah, if you want to go there. But those are the main. I'm probably missing some really important ones, but they're on there if anyone's curious.
Oh, nice. And let's talk about the future. And I have two last questions. And the first one is about near future, 5 to 10 years. What would be your dream scenario if everything goes according to your plan?
5, 10 years. Well, so right now I'm developing a new website for Proko, which would be more of like an online school, like a full-on school, where we have discussions for every lesson, and where basically, hopefully, the website would have everything that an artist would need to learn, with a lot of guest instructors, not just me, with a community where people can talk about things and help each other and critique each other and get together if they need to. So for Proko, that's what I want. For myself, I want to be able to have time to paint more, to explore my own creativity a little bit more. Because I have a lot of visions of paintings that I do, and then, but then I have employees and stuff that I have. So I have to make sure that the company's working
and just going. Yeah. And if you think about like far future and like 100 years, what would you like to be remembered for?
I guess maybe bringing art education, good quality art education to everybody, making it affordable and approachable enough for anybody to be able to master drawing and painting.
Perfect.
That's very difficult, but hopefully that will happen.
Yeah, I believe that. I'm looking forward to see your website and courses and everything grow.
Yeah, thank you. And if your subscribers or your viewers want, I could give them like a discount code
That would be perfect.
for the courses if they want to check them out. Let's see. What should the discount code be? Art Side of Life, or what do you want? I could do whatever.
You can just do proco.com/artsideoflife discount
Well,
code.
no, it
or
would be
something.
like a code. It would be
A
like
code.
yeah, like a coupon code.
It
I
can
could
be
just
Art Side
do
of Life as well. Or
Art Side
you.
of Life. We'll do that. Art Side of Life, and they'll get 20% off of whatever course they want on there.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Perfect.
no problem.
And thank you so much for being here and just joining us and sharing your experience. It was so much fun.
Oh, you're welcome. It was great.
And
Thank you for
before
inviting
we,
me.
oh yeah, my pleasure. And before we say goodbye, maybe you can share the last advice or key takeaway, and then we finish the interview.
Yeah, I guess just for artists, just don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to enjoy what you're doing. If you're struggling, just try to figure out what you got into this in the first place for. You know, most artists are artists because they loved it at one point or another. So try to keep that. Try to figure out what that is that you love about it, and don't lose it.
Awesome. Yeah, very nice to end. And thanks again. It was so good. And thanks everyone for watching or listening. And don't forget to check out the website for the courses. And don't forget to also inspire each other and help each other to succeed. So see you in the next episode.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in comments. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos because I post new interview every single workday. You can also find the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a little freebie waiting for you, so go check it out. If you want to listen to the interviews on the go, make sure to check out the podcast episodes at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and don't forget to inspire each other. I will see you guys in the next episode.